In this video tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Lively Photoshop action. What this action does, it will take a photo and create this type of look with it, and then from there there's an additional action in the same action set which will have you import your own texture and sort of blend it with your subject. Alright, and I'll go over all the customization techniques so you can create images like this in just a couple of minutes. Alright, so I'll go ahead and close these and open up a new photo to work with. And a couple of things to check before we play the action. Just make sure that you're in RGB color mode and 8 bits of channel is selected. Also make sure that your layer is set as the background. So you can see I have the background text or lock symbol. If you don't, you open up your photo and it's not like that. Just go to Layer, New, Background from Layer. It will set it as the background. Next in your layer panel, just go to this top right hand corner icon and select panel options. Just make sure that add copy to copied layers and groups is also selected. Now try to work with a good size resolution photo. Mine's 1100 by 1700. Try to avoid going under 1000 pixels because the quality of the effects diminish the lower the resolution, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so there's only one step we need to do to get this action to work. We create a new layer, call it brush, make sure it's all lowercase, otherwise the action won't work. And hit B on the keyboard, grab yourself a brush tool, and select any color. And what you want to do is you want to brush over your photo where you want to apply the effects. So go ahead and do that. Now I've already created a Photoshop file where I've brushed this one here. Okay, so what I've done is just brushed over the area where I want to apply the effect, and now what we want to do is load up the actions. So if we go to the window menu, select actions, and go to this top right hand corner icon and go to load actions, select the lively.atn file, and it appears here. We have 3 actions in here. I'll go through what each one of them do, and you'll notice that my artboard is a little bit bigger here, and I'll just go a step back. I'll just crop this back down. Alright, so inside the Lively folder we have the extend canvas action. So if you want more room around your photo, say if you want to import a nice watercolor texture and have it further outside here, just play this action. You'll bump up the canvas size. You can keep playing it to make it bigger and bigger if you want. Now, so we've got our layer called brush. We've brushed where we want to apply the effect. We select the Lively action and we click play, and that's all. So I'll click play, and the action takes about 1.5 minutes to complete. So I'll just fast forward the video and go from there. Okay, so the action's done, and this is the default look that is applied to your photo. Alright, so the first thing you're probably thinking is how on earth do I get the detail back in my my subject's face. That's really simple. So we'll go into the layer panel now and talk about all the ways we can customize this. So I'll just close the actions panel, we'll jump in here. Now one thing with all these actions that I make, when it's finished all the folders stay expanded, and there's a really cool little technique to quickly minimize all the folders. If you hold down Control and Alt Command Option on a Mac, and if you say click on this top folder here, adjustments, if you click on the arrow, Control and Alt minimizes, collapses all the folders. So it's just a really quick way to neaten up the workflow. Alright, okay, so let's just jump straight into getting some detail back in this guy's face. And the way we do that is that we have this one folder here called Lively. This has all the effects applied to it. And so there's a mask on the folder. All we need to do is grab a black brush, grab a soft brush, and just brush into that mask. And you can see that wherever we brush, you can erase the effect. So if I hold down Shift and click on the mask, you can see that it temporarily brings it back, and you can see what we've done right there. So that's just a really quick way to bring back excuse me, the detail in the face. Alright, this top folder here, adjustments, we'll go inside here, and I've left the top layer brush, so if you want to run the action just delete all the layers, so you can just bring this one to the top, and then shift select these ones, delete, run the action again, and that's it. Alright, layer below we have the before and after, so as you're working away you can flick back to the original to see what you've done. Add sharpening, just a little option there. If you're happy with the default look, you can tick that one on. It adds a little bit of overall sharpening. Layer below, add vibrance. You can double click on this one and adjust the vibrance there and the saturation below. Okay. Contrast, if you just click on the word opacity at the top here and drag to the right and left, you can adjust the amount of contrast in your design. Now these two here I've highlighted in blue because this is a default colour sort of tone I've applied to the image. So if I turn this one off, you can see that it just adds a bit of red and blue to the shadows. So you can turn that one on and off. And a nice little thing I like to do is double click on this one and just drag this handle around. You can experiment with different colours. And what you can also do is, say if you want this yellow, you can then use the mask here on this layer, and you can brush onto that mask to reveal the original colour. So if I drag this all the way to blue, his face won't go blue. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. Alright, so let me just keep going. We've got the lively folder, we'll jump into that now, and we'll go from the let's go from the top. So we have this top folder here called glow dots. So what I like to do when I'm working away, if I forget what folder does what, I just flick the eye on and off to quickly see what's going on there. So you can go inside these folders. The glows are in different folders, so you can move them around. You can duplicate the folders, and if you don't like the glows, just turn them off. Alright, thick jagged lines, if I move this folder around, you can see what they are. Okay, and now you can go inside these. You can move these lines all individually. You can turn this one on to change the line's color. Double click on that layer, drag this slide around, and let's go for a yellow. Alright, and you can also select this folder and go Control T and scale all the lines in if you don't want them protruding so much. So something like that. Alright, and again you've got the masks on the folders, so if you don't, say for example, you don't want all the lines around his arm here, I can just grab black brush again and brush in there. Okay, just to remove where you don't want. Alright, lay down the lines pattern. If I turn this one on and off, you can see where's a good place to zoom in here. Just here. It's just a horizontal lines pattern that sort of appears in random areas of where you've initially brushed. So you can leave that one on and off. You can turn this one on to colour it. You can just double click on this box and choose a different colour. Easy as that. Alright, layer below is just some subtle texture which helps build the look. This one here, swirly lines, if I move this one out of the way you can see what they are. What I like to also do is just offset the layers a little bit to add a bit of randomness to it all, because that's the effect of the design, really what we're going for. And so I'm going to try a different colour. Let's just keep it white, and we'll just maybe offset it a little bit so you can see the details stick out there. Lay down diagonal lines. These ones stay outside of your photo, and if I turn the colour on, you can see that there. So you can turn that one on and off, it's up to you. These ones here, black edges, if I turn these on, it's quite strong in this photo, but what it will do is outline the edges of your photo black. Okay, so what I like to do with these layers is I turn it on and off and I look in what areas it looks good. Like, I don't think it looks good applied to the entire image, but it might look good, you know, just around his arms here, around the top of his hand. So what I'll do is I'll select the mask and I'll fill it black. so it hides it all. But then I'll grab a white brush and I'll just brush in where I want to reveal those extra lines. See, like that. And you can do the same for this one as well. So just keep that in mind with these two layers here, that it's probably best if you brush on the details. Alright, layer below is called the underline sketch, and if I turn this one on and off, you'll see that it does nothing. And the reason why I've done it this way is that what I want you to do is with this mask, if you hold down shift and click on it, it temporarily hides it. And what it does, it then shows that layer. But what I want you to do is take a look at where this could look good. Okay? So you can brush on the details, just like the black edges layer. So I'll click on this again to release it. You can grab a white brush and just brush in again where you saw that it could have looked good, if you know what I mean. Okay, so maybe down here. Okay, but for this particular photo, I don't think it works that well, so I might just leave it off. What you can also do is apply some colour to it. So some blue, some green. Alright, so I'll just turn this one off for this example. Going down, so you can see that what I've done with the way I've coloured layers, I've just grouped them, the ones that you can apply some colour to. So for example, this one here, if I turn this one on and off, what I like to do with these ones called mixed texture is that you quickly flick on the colour and see, now I can see clearly where that layer is affecting the image, and then you can think about what colour you want that area to be. So maybe I want that yellow. I'll double click on that box, change that to a yellow. Okay, going down, I'll flick on the green box. You can see what that's doing. So if I'm going for a reddy yellow theme here, I might want to change this to orange. Something like that. Alright, moving on down, we have the next one here, so we can turn that one on and off. I think I might leave that one grey, just a default colour. Again, this one, so this is quite a big one. You can, same method, just double click on that box and change the colour. Green looks pretty cool. We'll just keep it orange. Going down, this one here. So this is the detail that hangs around the edge. So currently it's white, we'll check out black. It's probably a bit too much. Let's just go background colour and just a little bit darker. Alright, this layer here, dots. You can jump inside this one, and there are some dot layers you can colour individually, or you can use this slider here, drag that one around. Alrighty, moving on down, there's a little bit of noise, just flick that one on and off. In this example it's very subtle, but you can see just around here applies a bit of noise. Turn it off for this example. And then we have another major layer here which applies a lot of colour, so you can see if I just change that. So you can see once you start mixing up colours you get some really cool looks. Alright, cancel that, and that's it. So that's the one main folder you want to jump into straight away and just experiment with brushing in details, changing colours, subtly moving layers around to create randomness, and keeping in mind that if you want to brush away any of the detail, so just select the folder mask, the lively folder mask, grab a black brush and you can brush away anything that sticks out that you don't want. So for example, these lines at the top, don't want them. This little dot, don't want that. You might want to clean up the edges a little bit. Or you can also go back inside here and just brush into the mask individually. And don't feel you need to use all these layers. You can just turn these off. Okay, so you can sort of reduce the amount of texture that's applied to the design. Alright, so next I want to import a texture. and I've created an action to help you do that. It's just called add texture, and in the download of the action in the README file, I've included some links to some really cool free watercolor textures, which I used for the preview image on Graphic River. All those designs, all the links I've got in the download, so check that out. Alright, so what I'll do is click on add texture, and a window will pop up excuse me, a window will pop up asking where your texture is. So I've got a couple here, so I'm just going to open up texture 1, double click, and what it'll do, it'll place it in our file, but the action hasn't finished yet. It's stopped with a bounding box. So what it's asking you to do is just to scale it, rotate it, get it into a position that you like. You can always change the position afterwards, but I'll just, for the sake of this, I'll just place it here, and when you're done, hit enter, and then the action will continue. Alright, so there we have it. If I zoom in, you can see it's applied the texture, and it's tried to remove the white as well, so that it bleeds onto our background color. Now, so what that action's done is create a folder called texture. So you can turn that one on and off. Alright, and the background color is here. All you need to do is double click on that box, and you can change the color to whatever you want. Alright, now we'll go back inside the texture folder, and there's a couple of important things I want to talk about here. So we have this one called texture outer. This is our main texture that we just imported, and we can move around, control T, we can scale it. We have this layer at the top here, outer texture color. Double click on that, we can drag this box around, this handle around, and choose a different color. And what I like to do with this particular look is look at the colors that we've already applied to our model, and get something that suits it really well. Just blends nicely. So that's pretty cool. That was pretty much the default look, but we'll keep it at that. You can apply just a solid color by ticking on this this layer here, and then this one down here I've got by default turned off. But if you turn that on, it applies the same texture, but only to the inside of the area that we brushed, so our model here. So I can grab this texture and move it around. You can see what that's doing. So just move that. So that's pretty cool. And same thing, you can just click on this box and use this handle and change the colors. Let's just go default look. Okay, so you're probably wondering how I got rid of the white from the texture, and this is an important thing to know, because you need the same technique will be applied when importing a texture with a black background. And so what you want to do, we have our texture outer layer here. If you double click on this, right, in this layer style window, just down the bottom here, this bar, these handles here, if you hold down Alt or Option on a Mac and drag them around, what it would do is, for example, if I move this one to the far right, see it's brought all the white back. So if I hold down Alt and drag to the left, it's going to try to reduce the white. Okay, so it's basically erasing the white. So if you want your white background on your texture, just go in and drag that handle to the far right. And again, if this was, or I'll show you now actually. So I'll go ahead now and import a black texture. So if I go right click, replace, so you right click on the texture outer layer, go replace contents, and I'll go this one. You see that the black's gone from the texture. So I can move this one around. If I double click on this layer again, and so this handle here, if I drag this one to the left, okay, it's brought that color back. And the reason why it's purple is because we have that default layer style applied, so keep that in mind. If you're wondering why the blacks are purple, go up into here, just turn that one off. So going back in here, I want to reduce the blacks, hold down Alt, drag to the right, and you can remove that from the texture. Alright, so this texture here, I'll just randomize the color a bit, see with what It works a bit better. Probably this here. Alright, and then what I also like to do is, you go back into the live folder, you adjust some of the colors, just mess around with what could work, and then I like to go into the adjustments folder and just double click on the randomized color toning again, and just play around with this slider, see what other results could look cool. Alright, but I think we've got some colors that look pretty good. The yellow. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open up another photo, and we'll just go through the same process. We'll change some colors, we'll import a texture, and create something that looks cool. Okay, so I've got my next photo open here, and you can see that I've created my brush layer. I've brushed over my photo pretty loosely. You can see the edges are still exposed, so I'm just going to go ahead, play the action, and fast forward the video, and we'll go from there. Alright, the action stopped, and again we have our default look. And one thing I forgot to do was actually extend the canvas before I ran the action, but even if you've run the action you can still use it, so you just click play and it will extend it like that, so we've got more room to work with. Alright, I'll close this over, and again Control Alt or Command Option on this arrow in the top folder collapses all the folders, and let's go onto the lively folder, and I'm just going to reveal our guy's face a bit, just like that. And I'm going to start from the bottom here, because I know these ones apply sort of a bulk of the colour, and we'll go for like a sort of a dark blue and green theme. So we'll just check. This one here will keep white for the moment. We'll change this one to a green, like that. This one will go with lighter green. This one we might keep just grey. This one we might check out white, black. Alright, we'll keep it black. The underline sketch layer, again, if you hold down shift, we want to temporarily reveal it, so we can take a look around at where we could brush this on. And I'll just click on that to release it, hit B on the keyboard, grab a white brush, and brush on where you thought it could have looked pretty good. Okay, moving up, the black edges. I think we've probably got enough black in this already, but just worth checking out. Alright, moving up, the diagonal lines, we might change this to green, blue, that'll do. Swirly lines, let's change this to white. Might just offset it a little bit. The lines pattern, we might leave this one off. The jagged lines, I'm going to check, add in some colour. Let's just keep it at that. And I might just play around with moving some of these. I might scale them all down first, just a little bit. Oh, that'll do. And the glow dots, I'll just turn this folder on and off to see if that. We'll just keep that on. Now the dots are still orange, so I'll scroll down to the dots folder down the bottom, and I'll use this adjustment layer, and I'll just find the green. And what we can also do is just move these around, and I might just duplicate the layer. I'll just rotate it. Just duplicate these two, make more dots out here. Or you could just, if I hold down Alt and drag on the folder, I can just duplicate the entire folder, and I can flip it vertically, move that around, something like that. Alright, I think he's looking pretty good. I might import a texture now. What I might check out is this adjustments layer, turn this default, but I think we might turn it off, or lower the opacity. Just lower the opacity a little bit, and let's change this background color to a grey. Now I want to import a texture, so I'll go to my add texture action, click play, and we'll just try this texture here. I'll rotate it. I might scale this, something like that. Hit enter. Alright, so we'll just zoom in a bit. Now what I want to do is firstly check out if we can make this blend in any better. So I'll just wrong layer. Let's double click on the texture outer layer, and again hold down Alt and just adjust these handles. I think it's a white texture. I think that's fine anyway. So now what we can do now is the outer texture color. I'll just double click on this to quickly randomize the colors. See if we get something that looks better. That looks pretty cool. That looks good. The orange looks good. Might go. That'll do. And what you can also do is, another layer I forgot to talk about, this halftone pattern overlay. If I zoom in on his face, you can see that that's, I've turned it on and off. You can see it just adds a little bit of subtle texture all over the place, so you can turn the one on and off if you don't want. And one thing you might also want to do is, if you want to add some additional texture, actually I'll just turn this one on and I'll see what we can do here. Turn up the saturation. I'll just move this texture and we'll adjust the colors again. Try and match those background ones. And I can brush away a little bit of that texture if I don't want it. Oops. So if I select the mask, hit B on the keyboard, grab a black brush, I can brush away that texture, so we just have this one red line shooting through. And if you want to add more texture to the background, you can just go to File, Place, and for example I can select this one, and I'll just place it here, and I'll scale it up. Now what you should be able to do is just change the blend mode of it to say multiple, and you could lower the opacity. Maybe you just want it black and white, so you can just create an adjustment layer, black and white. I'll flip this vertically. Anyway, that's just another thing you can do to add more texture to the design. And another thing you can do with the texture folder is adjust your layer blending mode there, so you can get some pretty wacky results by just scrolling down the list of blend modes with the folder. Alright, so what I might actually do is I might turn off the glows. Turn that off, and I might check out adjusting. I'll turn this back to 100%. I'll zoom out and I'll try adjusting the color to see what. So that looks pretty cool. If you want to reduce the red in the highlights, you can double click on the add toning layer, and sorry, on the icon here, and you can go to the red channel and drag this down, like that. might just adjust this texture a little bit. Another thing I like to do with this this action is apply just a little bit of glow, and how you can do that is just if I create a new layer at the top here, set the blend mode to add, hit B, grab a brush, I'll grab it red, make sure you're using a soft brush, and if I select the opacity of about 50% and brush, well actually I'll change 80%. You see you can brush in glows like that. And what I like to do is if I'm using a red glow, I'll brush in sort of where the red is on the design, just like that. Alright, so that's it. If I go back into the adjustments folder, I'll just turn the glow off for the moment. You can see, oops, sorry. You can see what we've created just from no work at all really. Just play the action, jump inside the folder, change the colours, move a few layers around, import your texture, and your design's done. Now, all those preview images on Graphic River, I did all of them in pretty much under 5 minutes. So once you get the hang of this, it's really simple action to use and you can create some really cool results. Alright, okay, so have fun. If you've got any questions, just let me know and I'll get in touch. Thanks.